Hi, my name is Christina, and today I'm going to be demonstrating and talking about different types of sensory motor equipment. Before we do get started, I just want to go over some general safety precautions. So you want to make sure to never leave your client unattended and always be within reach of your client and providing any contact guard assistance when necessary. And you also want to be prepared for any moments of distress, fear, or any moments when it does feel unsafe during the activity. In terms of the precautions and contraindications for clients with seizure disorders, if the client is currently not taking any medications and they are not allowed to use any of the sensory motor equipment. However, if a child has seizure disorders and is currently taking medication, then you are allowed to do particular movements such as going forward and back. Clients that do have seizures and taking medication, some signs to look out for would be facial redness, if they're sweating more than usual, if they're having more hiccups than usual, and increased flatulence. In addition, for clients that have seizure disorders and are controlled with medication, the client is able to tolerate linear movements. Other movements such as like rotational inputs are still can be considered allowed, but it's just up to proceed with caution when you are working with the client for any activity. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how to install the
platform swing
onto the height adjuster. When picking up the platform swing, you want to make sure you bend down with both knees for proper body mechanics. So you're going to go ahead and bend down both knees. Also want to pick up the carabiner for the platform swing at the same time. As we're walking towards the height adjuster, you're more than welcome to lower the platform down if you're able. And then again, you want to make sure that the carabiner is facing up and that there's no wear and tear when attaching it. And then always make sure that the height adjuster is at eye level. So you want to go ahead and install the carabiner onto the height adjuster like so. And then you want to go ahead and carry the platform swing how you picked it up earlier. And then you want to go ahead and make sure lift up the lever to make the height of the platform swing even higher, because ideally you would want it at like shin level. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this up like so. And then you're going to go ahead and bring down the platform swing like such. Again, you want to make sure that it's at shin level, and then you just want to go ahead and adjust the middle like such just to make sure it's straight. The platform swing is a good stable surface that introduces linear movement and addresses control vestibular input. The swing also addresses like postural control challenges and core strength. It's also beneficial when working on visual motor input for kiddos that want to work on reaching activities when they're either prone or seated. When you're on here, you just want to make sure that the rope is out of the way and that you have access to it at all times. And then you're going to ask the kiddo to bend on both knees and make sure that the kiddo's trunk is like on the platform. If they're on here, the core is already on the platform, the arms are going to be out, and then you can go ahead and have them swing forward and back. And you can even do rotational movements if the kiddo is able to do so. As a therapist, you want to make sure that there's clearance at all sides so there's nothing obstructing. And then you want to make sure you're also providing any contact guard assistance when needed. So holding onto the ropes is also one, and having your hand nearby by the kiddo is also good. One contraindication that I mentioned earlier for kiddos with seizure disorders, so if they are on medications, you just want to make sure you're moving linearly, so just so we prevent any dizziness, just making sure that they're not in any cause of distress. When it comes to removing the platform swing, we want to repeat the same measures that we did earlier to promote proper body mechanics. So again, bending with both knees and lifting up with your legs, hold onto the platform. Whichever side you feel most comfortable holding onto the platform is up to your preference. And then with the height adjuster, I'm going to go ahead and use my thumb to bring down the lever like such, ideally at eye level, and then go ahead and open up the carabiner like so, and then go ahead and bring over your platform swing to the safest location to put it away. Next sensory motor equipment I'm going to be talking about is the Superman swing. It's quite similar to how the platform swing is installed. So again, you would want the height adjuster at eye level, and then you want to go ahead and make sure that there is no wear and tear on the carabiner, and then you want to go ahead and install the swing like so, and then you're just going to go ahead and pull up the lever, bring it up, and then go ahead and position it. Should be like at shin level. Also, you would want your kiddo to have the larger part of the Superman swing with both legs. I'm going to go ahead and push the lower end in between the kiddo's legs so that they're able to put their legs into the moon swing, and then just to make sure that the therapist would have the rope out of the way. And then once the kiddo's legs are in between the moon swing, you're going to go and have them swing forward and back. This is a good swing that addresses postural control and movement, and core and upper body strengthening, and promotes like movements away from midline that can address body awareness and orientation. It also promotes vestibular input. In terms of using this with your kiddo, you just want to make sure that you're within reach of the Superman swing and the kiddo at all times for safety reasons. And similar to the precautions for all seizure disorders that I mentioned earlier, if they are on medication, you just want to make sure that you're starting off with forward and back. Now, when it comes to coming off of the Superman swing, you want to make sure that the Superman swing is being swung gently, and then you want to ask your client to start walking backwards little by little. And then once they're at a good stopping point, you want to ask them to lift one leg at a time slowly so that they're able to come off of the Superman swing, and then you would have the other leg come off afterwards. Up next, we have the prone scooter board. Prone scooter boards are good to address the client's core strengthening and upper extremities, whether they're doing this prone or seated. Before you do start, you always want to make sure that the caster wheels are facing up, just so you're avoiding any accidents or injury when you're working with your client in the clinic. When you are having the client on the scooter, you want to make sure to have 3 points of contact with the scooter and the client. We want to make sure that the pathway is clear at all times, and just to maintain close supervision. When you do have the client and yourself working on the prone scooter board, you want to make sure that their hair is tied up and to remove any injury before proceeding with the activity. So in order to use the scooter board, you want to go ahead and flip it over like so, and then you want to have the 3 points of contact. So you want to have one leg. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to go ahead and put my left leg on the back of the long scooter board. And because I am right-handed, I have my right hand in the back, so I can go ahead and hold on to my client, and then my left hand will be right here. I need to hold on to the client in case they do elope. You can just grab them right here. This piece of equipment is good and is beneficial to promote praxis during movement, any motor planning, and bilateral coordination. This scooter can also provide proprioceptive input and vestibular input, especially when the kiddo is like being moved. So when you have the client getting on the scooter board, you want to make sure you want to put one hand at a time on the scooter board until they go ahead and reach the very other end. And then you want to go and have them lay on their stomach. And then you want to make sure that their arms are away from the scooter board in case of any injuries, and having their legs up also, just to avoid dragging when you have the kiddo using the prone scooter board. So up next, we have the therapy ball. This device is good for postural control and balance while also providing vestibular input. Depending on the intensity of how aggressive or how gently you or the client bounce on the ball, it can be calming or alarming. It's also good for addressing eye-hand coordination. So for example, you can have the client sitting on the therapy ball while rolling like a smaller ball back to the therapist to address any eye tracking, grasping, and any postural stability. The client can also lie prone onto the therapy ball. In this position, you can go ahead and work on targeted activities such as like grabbing any bean bags or toys. In terms of safety, you just want to make sure that while the client is sitting on the ball, that you are within hands reach. So in case like there's an event of close to a fall or an injury. The next sensory equipment I'm going to be talking about is the weighted equipment. I have here a weighted toy. In case you don't have a weighted toy, there is also a weighted vest and a weighted blanket. This is appropriate for clients over the age 3 years old. You can avoid any events of suffocation or overheating. With the weighted animal, you want to make sure the client is holding it below the rib. Depending on how the weighted equipment is meant to be used, it can be beneficial for sensory, proprioceptive, and tactile purposes. When you are using any weight equipment, you want to make sure that the client has it for about 20 minutes, so 20 minutes on and then 20 minutes off. And you want to do that for about like 3 times. When you do decide to utilize weighted equipment, you want to make sure there's an hour break in between, just so it maintains the efficacy of the equipment, and you don't want the client to be super reliant on it during the session. You also want to prevent having weighted equipment with them while they're sleeping to avoid any suffocation or overheating during the night. So for my client, I'm going to go ahead and use the platform swing and the therapy ball because my client gets overwhelmed in sensory-rich environments and tends to shut down and cry on the playground. He is very hypersensitive to the environment, so we want to slowly introduce him to some of the equipment and the clinic, which would translate well into introducing the equipment in the playground. We want to start gently, like moving the equipment slowly, like going forward and back, just to see how the input feels while also promoting vestibular input. And with the therapy ball, it's a very similar aspect, but more dynamic when bouncing the ball. And just to introduce that input once again. And if he is up to a different type of movement, we will go ahead and introduce a different position, which would be a prone position, and try to see if he would be able to participate in a targeted activity. Hi Joseph, let's play today. Here's your toy. Oh, Ducky. Good. Okay, watch me, Joseph. So we scoot back, scoot again, one leg, and then swing. Whee!
I'd like to try.
I'd like to try. Okay, your turn. It's okay. Ducky here. Okay, let's try.
Try.
Okay?
Yeah.
Use your toy. Okay. Going slow, like a boat. With Ducky. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Okay?
Yes, more.
More? Okay. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Woo. Careful. Okay, Joseph, let's get off. Good job, Joseph. Hey, Joseph, we're gonna swing like trees. Watch me. Go side, to side. This. Okay, you try. You can, toy is okay. Okay.
Safe.
Okay. I'll try now. It's me. Good job. Oh, thank you. Let's have your hands up. Go sway. Sway like trees. Whee! Okay? Okay. Okay. One more time?
No.
Okay. Then let's stand up. Okay.
And help. I want this one here.
Okay.
This one here. I like the green one here. Black one. The orange. Oh, actually, no.
That's really far.
Here? No.
No, here. Okay, Joseph, the leaves have fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, watch me.
Oh.
So you want one leaf inside.
Okay.
Okay, you try.
One leaf. Oh, the ball. Wait. This one here, here. This one here. I don't like that color.
Okay.
Okay, on. Now? Okay.
Which one? Okay.
Take it. And then inside. Oh.
Good job. Okay. One more?
Sure. Joseph likes yellow.
Okay. Good. Let's do one more.
Ducky?
No, not ducky. Leaf.
Okay. Leaf here.
Okay, good.
Ta-da!
Okay,
Yay!
good job. Okay, let's get off. Okay, good job, Joseph. Oh, hi Joanna, good to see you today. So with Joseph, we did some activities that tried to promote him being able to be on the playground and not be super overwhelmed. So today we tried a few different things. I had him sit on the swing that just goes forward and back, just to introduce that feeling, if he ever wanted to go on the swing, and so he doesn't feel overwhelmed in that environment. He was a little hesitant at first. He did put his toy duck in the middle just to see if he would like it, but eventually he was able to go on it, and we just did gentle rocking movements just to introduce it, which he did seem to like, and we sang a calming song like row 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 your boat, just so he understands the feeling of it. We also introduced having him sit down on the therapy ball, again introducing that input but in a different way. So he started off bouncing on the ball at first, and then he started swaying side to side like trees, on a windy day. And again, a little hesitant at first, but he was still able to do it at some point. And then we moved on to see, because he was able to do that, I wanted to see if he was able to be on the ball in a different direction. So I had him laying down on his stomach, and pretended that the leaves had fallen down from the tree, and just tossing them into the bin to see if he would like it. At first he was hesitant, but then he ended up organizing the colors of the bean bags to his liking, so I let him do that. And then he was a little hesitant in throwing it at first, but eventually he was able to do a few more, and which was pretty successful. So he's getting there. It's just taking a little bit more time. But yeah, is there anything else you needed from us today?
No, I think that all sounds pretty good.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Yeah, of course, you're welcome.